Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. I, 19/male, woke up to my friend, 20/female, giving me a while I was asleep. I have a few questions. The development of our relationship has taken place over the period of 3 years, during which time we have become quite close. To get to this stage in our relationship, none of us had ever been or intimately involved with the other before. This came entirely out of nowhere, and I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen until it did. As a partner, I'm fully aware that she doesn't care for me, and I didn't anticipate that she would be interested in having intercourse with me as well. It wasn't out of the ordinary for her to spend the night at my house, since it is something she does on a regular basis. During the weekends, we like to spend a lot of time together, and she often stays over since we enjoy smoking marijuana and getting drunk at my house together. We usually sleep in the same bed, and I sleep nude, but under the covers, so it has never been a problem for her, and we don't get too near to one another while we are in the same room together either. I've had moments when she's been too near to me and things have been on the point of becoming heated, but it's never gone any farther than a little touch. We smoked that night in order to keep things short, and when I smoke, I'd fall asleep quickly and don't wake up soon thereafter. When I awoke, she was in the middle of doing it on my face. It was entirely unexpected, and she didn't even seem worried. Instead, she kissed me and asked me to her in front of everyone. We spent a wonderful day together, and I really loved being in her company. We fell asleep close to one another once again, and she snuggled up next to me this time. However, as a consequence of this, my perplexity has become even worse. Do you think she'll want to repeat this experience in the future? What do you think of my acting on my own initiative the next time I have a good idea? Update. A large number of comments were left on my initial post, with the majority of them coming from those who claimed that I had been or mistreated by her. My enjoyment of my time with her was enhanced by the fact that I did not feel mistreated at any point throughout my time with her. Following that, I began to flirt with her more, and we finally began having on a more regular basis together. The reason I had never made a move on her was because she had previously rejected my earlier request to go on a date with her, which I had previously conveyed to others. I invited her out a second time, but she declined this time as well. I was told that she didn't find me to be what she was searching for and that all she wanted from me was to have relations with me. It was she who told me that she wanted to have with someone other than me and that she wanted to have relations with me primarily because she believes I am the most gorgeous person she could have with, and that she is just drawn to my body. When I found out, I was devastated, but I persisted in having relations with her for a few more sessions. My inability to cope with the prospect of being with her knowing she would abandon me when the person she really loved came along led me to cease contact with her. Having not spoken to me in a long time, she has just recently contacted me to express her desire to chat with me once again. When I spoke with her, she stated that she had made a mistake by first declaring that she did not like me, and that she had changed her mind and now wanted to date me. She explained to me that she had realized she had made a mistake by letting me go, and that she would want me to give her another opportunity to make amends with me. I'm utterly at a loss for what to say to her right now. Because I like her so much, I'm paralyzed with fear that I'll be injured again or that she abandon me for someone else in the future. Story 2. I cheated on my wife of 5 years. Today, I told her. My wife and I had been together since I was 16 years old. My age is currently 26 years old. A few months back, I struck up a casual conversation with a girl. It was absolutely risk-free. A chain of events occurred after 2 months of communication, culminating in our sharing of a bed. Several times, in fact, things were strained, both emotionally and physically, throughout the day. I knew in my heart that I didn't want to be married, but I adored my wife and had been in love with her since we were 16 years old. With occasional thoughts of being in love, I suppose I had always liked her as a friend, with occasional concepts of being in love. Everyone in her life, including her mother and father, had abandoned her at some point in her life. I would never be able to forsake her. When we were younger, I told her that I would never leave her alone again. I stuck to my word and followed through on my promise. Marriage, house ownership, and establishing a family were all things that I went through as if they were routine. I was addicted to alcohol for over 4 years before I was able to quit. I used to drink to deal with the stresses of being married and depressed. Cheating helped me see how many issues there were in our marriage. One of the problems is that there is a lack of emotional connection, as well as a lack of connection. I yearned for the type of love and dedication I knew she couldn't give me because it wasn't in her nature to do so. It wasn't her fault, it was just not who she was. But, for better or worse, she was head over heels in love with me. Really, passionately in love with me. She even stood by my side throughout my drinking binge and saw my recovery 3 years afterwards. I had a sneaking suspicion that something wasn't quite right. I had everything I wanted in life. A great career, a dream house, a dream automobile, vacations. I thought I had the perfect life. That is, until the affair occurred. My thoughts were racing through my head, and I felt like I'd never be able to continue. I had finally experienced something. Something more than just a nice affection, in other words. Something deeper and more meaningful. When it came to the other female, I felt emotionally engaged in her. At the time of my first cheating incident, I moved out of my house and lived with friends. I told her that I'd want to get a divorce. She couldn't figure out why. She attributed my behavior to my mental health, claiming that I was isolating myself and not taking my prescriptions properly. All of this was a fabrication. It all came to a head today when she called my friend's phone and shouted at him, demanding an immediate answer. She was in desperate need of answers. My instincts told me she needed to know the truth or she'd never be able to go on. I called my wife and requested to meet with her the next day to finally notify her of the situation. She was adamant about not meeting. She recommended that we may have a conversation at our therapy appointment on Wednesday. The woman was enraged and couldn't grasp how I could just walk away from her without a struggle. Her mother is now in town, but she will be leaving early the next morning. I wanted her to have someone to mourn with and on whom she could rely once I told her of what had transpired. As a consequence, I told her the whole truth about what happened. Over the phone, 10 years of recollections were brought to a close. That's exactly how it is. Before hanging up, she muttered, "I hope we can still." But she couldn't go on because she was sobbing and couldn't speak. "Make this work," I was expecting her to say in response. She was really taken aback. She hung up the phone after a few rings. I was in a state of shock. How could I have done something like this to my best buddy, who is 10 years old? I couldn't bring myself to go because I didn't want to see her suffering. She has now been injured and is in a condition of shock. She was confronted by the one person to whom she had ever really opened up. I had lied to her and misled her. Because I was too afraid to just end it and walk away, I feel responsible. She had a right to know why she was being held hostage. I'll never be able to quit admiring her. I just hope that both I and her will be able to recover from this experience. And I hope that she will never be able to put her confidence in anybody else again. She deserved nothing less than the finest and was a beautiful, caring, and forgiving spouse. She'd be an excellent companion for someone. All I can say is that I wish it had been me who had to go through this. My heart, on the other hand, is unable to change its mind. It was tough to approach her and ask her to change who she is in order for me to feel appreciated. Perhaps it wasn't the case. It's possible that I made a mistake. I'm fully and utterly wrecked. I had completely lost track of all I had planned for the rest of my life. Never in a million years did I contemplate life without her, but there's no going back now.